When Maya first noticed the girl sitting alone in booth 7 every Tuesday at 3 p.m., she assumed she was just another college student avoiding homework at Rosie's diner. It took 3 weeks to realize that everyone, customers, staff, even the bold truckers who hit on anything in a skirt, gave her table a wide berth like she carried some invisible warning. The girl was beautiful in a haunting way, with long black hair and pale green eyes that seemed to see everything while revealing nothing. She always ordered the same thing: coffee, black, and apple pie. She never spoke, just pointed at the menu and nodded when Maya brought her order. Maya had written her off as painfully shy until she caught the girl's eyes tracking every conversation in the diner with the intensity of someone translating a foreign language. That's when Maya realized she wasn't shy. She was deaf. The revelation came during the dinner rush on a Tuesday in October when Maya was rushing between tables, trying to keep up with orders while short-staffed. She'd grabbed the coffee pot to refill the girl's cup when her hand slipped, sending hot coffee across the table and toward the girl's lap. Maya's warning shout went unheard, but somehow the girl sensed the danger and jerked back just in time. As Maya frantically apologized while cleaning up the mess, the girl's hands moved in fluid, graceful patterns that Maya suddenly recognized as sign language. "I'm so sorry," Maya said aloud while fumbling with napkins. "I'm such a klutz." The girl's hands moved again, more slowly this time, and Maya caught herself staring at the elegant way her fingers formed words Maya couldn't understand. Frustrated with the language barrier, Maya grabbed a napkin and scribbled, "Are you okay?" "I'm really sorry." The girl read the note and smiled, the first genuine emotion Maya had seen from her. She took the pen and wrote back in careful cursive, "I'm fine. Thank you for being kind." If you love forbidden love stories, subscribe and don't miss the next one. Maya was about to write another note when the diner's atmosphere changed like a storm front moving in. The cheerful chatter died to nervous whispers, and every head turned toward the entrance where 3 men in leather vests had just walked in. Maya recognized the patches immediately: Hell's Angels, Phoenix Chapter. The lead man was massive, with graying hair pulled back in a ponytail and arms covered in tattoos that told stories Maya didn't want to know. His cold blue eyes swept the diner until they found booth 7, and his expression transformed from dangerous to devastatingly gentle. The girl, his daughter, Maya realized with shock, waved at him with the same graceful hand movements she'd been using to sign. The big man's response was equally fluid, his scarred hands forming signs with surprising delicacy as he crossed the diner toward their table. Maya watched other customers shrink away from the biker's path, fear rippling through the room like a contagion. But when the lead man reached his daughter, he bent down and kissed her forehead with the tenderness of someone handling precious glass. Their silent conversation was beautiful to watch. 2 pairs of hands dancing through complex patterns that spoke volumes Maya couldn't understand. The girl's face lit up with animation Maya had never seen, while her father's intimidating exterior melted into pure paternal love. "Everything okay, honey?" the biker asked his daughter in sign language, though Maya could only guess at his meaning from his protective posture. The girl signed back rapidly, pointing toward Maya with what looked like gratitude rather than complaint. Her father's blue eyes fixed on Maya with an intensity that made her stomach clench with sudden fear. "You the waitress who's been taking care of my daughter?" His voice was gravelly from years of cigarettes and shouting over motorcycle engines. Yes, sir. She's always welcome here." Maya's voice came out steadier than she felt. "Name's Steele," the biker said, extending a hand that could probably crush her skull. "This is my daughter, Angel. She tells me you're the first person in 3 months to treat her like a human being instead of a freak show." Maya shook his hand, surprised by his careful grip. "She's never been anything but polite. I don't understand why people avoid her." Steele's expression darkened. "Because they see the patches, see who her father is, and decide she's guilty by association. Add in the fact that she can't hear their whispered insults, and most people treat her like she's invisible or dangerous. That's horrible. That's reality for kids like Angel." Steele's voice carried the weight of a father who'd watched his child struggle with isolation he couldn't fix through intimidation or violence. But you saw past all that. You saw her. Maya looked at Angel, who was watching their conversation with intelligent eyes that missed nothing. She signed something to her father that made him smile, a transformation that turned his weathered face almost handsome. She says you're the first person who apologized for spilling coffee instead of acting like she couldn't understand English. Steele translated, and she wants to know if you'd like to learn some basic signs. Before Maya could answer, Angel pulled out her phone and typed rapidly, showing Maya the screen. Would you like to be friends? I know I'm different, but I promise I'm more interesting than I seem. The simple request broke Maya's heart. Here was a young woman who'd been isolated by her father's reputation and her own disability, asking for the basic human connection most people took for granted. I'd love to learn, Maya said, speaking directly to Angel even though she couldn't hear the words. And yes, I'd like to be friends. Angel's smile was radiant, and she immediately began signing simple words. Hello, thank you, friend, while speaking them silently so Maya could read her lips. Steele watched their interaction with an expression Maya couldn't quite decipher, something between relief and wariness. As other customers continued to stare nervously at their table, Maya realized she was about to enter a world she'd never imagined, one where love was expressed in silent languages, where danger wore leather vests, and where the most feared man in Phoenix would do anything to see his daughter smile. She had no idea that accepting Angel's friendship would lead her directly into the arms of the one man in Arizona everyone knew better than to cross. Maya's crash course in sign language began the next Tuesday when Angel arrived at the diner with a stack of books and the patient determination of someone accustomed to teaching the hearing world how to communicate with her. Start with alphabet, Angel mouthed while demonstrating each letter with precise hand shapes. Then basic words, most important. She fingerspelled slowly. Please and Thankyu. Maya fumbled through the letters, her fingers clumsy compared to Angel's fluid grace. But Angel's encouraging smiles and gentle corrections made the learning feel like play rather than work. Your name? Angel signed and spoke simultaneously. Maya. Beautiful name. Means water in some languages. What does Angel mean in sign? Maya asked, speaking while attempting the signs she'd learned. Angel's hands moved in a graceful arc above her head, like wings spreading. Messenger, protector, someone who bridges earth and heaven. Her smile turned slightly sad. My father chose it because he said I was his angel in a world full of devils. Over the following weeks, their friendship deepened as Maya's signing improved. Angel was nothing like Maya had expected from a biker's daughter. She was studying art therapy at Phoenix Community College, hoping to work with deaf children who'd been failed by the hearing world's assumptions about their capabilities. People see deaf, think broken, Angel explained during one of their Tuesday sessions. But I see everything they miss. I read faces, body language, emotions people hide behind words. Silence teaches you to observe. Maya began to understand that Angel's deafness wasn't a limitation. It was a different way of experiencing the world that often gave her insights others missed entirely. You're sad today? Angel signed during Maya's 4th week of lessons. Not work sad, heart sad. Maya paused while refilling Angel's coffee. She hadn't told anyone about her recent breakup, hadn't thought her emotional state was obvious. How did you know? Your shoulders carry weight. Your smile doesn't reach your eyes. And you keep touching your phone like you want to call someone but won't let yourself. The accuracy was unsettling and comforting in equal measure. Maya found herself opening up to Angel about her ex-boyfriend's betrayal, about feeling invisible and unworthy of real love. Invisible can be powerful, Angel signed. People show their true selves when they think no one important is watching. You see who they really are. Is that why your father chose the Hells Angels? To be seen? Angel's expression grew thoughtful. My father chose brotherhood because family abandoned us when I was born deaf. Said I was God's punishment for his sins. The angels became our family instead. That's horrible. But it taught us that chosen family is stronger than blood family. People who love you by choice, not obligation. Angel's hands moved with particular emphasis. Those bonds can't be broken. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of 3 college guys who'd been drinking since noon, judging by their aggressive volume and wandering hands. Maya had dealt with their type before, entitled, obnoxious, and convinced every waitress was fair game for harassment. "Hey, sweetheart," the leader called to Maya while his friends blocked Angel's booth. "How about you ditch the freak show and serve some real customers?" Maya's blood boiled, but before she could respond, Angel stood gracefully and began signing rapidly, not to communicate, but to demonstrate her difference in a way that made the drunk men uncomfortable. "What the hell is wrong with her?" One of them laughed. "She having a seizure or something?" "She's deaf, you asshole," Maya snapped. "And she's 10 times more intelligent than all of you combined." The leader's face darkened with alcohol-fueled aggression. "Didn't know this place served retards. Maybe we should find somewhere more normal." The slur hung in the air like poison. Maya saw Angel's face go pale with hurt, saw her hands tremble as she sat back down and tried to make herself invisible. "Get out," Maya said quietly. "Now." "Or what? You'll call your mute girlfriend's daddy?" The drunk man laughed. "We're not scared of some biker trash." That's when the diner's front door opened and Steele walked in, followed by 2 other angels whose patches marked them as officers in the Phoenix chapter. Maya had never been so grateful to see someone terrifying in her life. The temperature in the room dropped to 20 degrees as Steele's cold blue eyes took in the scene. His daughter shrinking in her booth, 3 drunk men standing too close to her table, and Maya positioned protectively between them. "Problem here?" Steele's voice was conversational, but every patron in the diner suddenly found reasons to avoid eye contact. The college guys sobered up fast when they recognized the patches. The leader started backpedaling immediately. "No problem, man. We were just leaving." "Good choice," Steele said, his massive frame blocking their path to the door. "But first, you're going to apologize to my daughter. Look, we didn't know." "You didn't know what? That she was human? That she deserved basic respect?" Steele stepped closer, and Maya could see why he commanded fear throughout Arizona. "Apologize. Now." The 3 men mumbled apologies while backing toward the exit. Their earlier bravado evaporated in the face of genuine danger. Steele watched them leave before turning to Angel, his expression instantly gentling. Their signed conversation was rapid and emotional. Maya caught fragments, Angel explaining what happened, Steele's hands moving with barely controlled anger, then both of them looking toward Maya with expressions of gratitude. "Thank you," Steele said to Maya, his voice rough with emotion. Not many people would stand up for her like that. "She's my friend," Maya replied simply. Friends protect each other. Something shifted in Steele's expression as he studied Maya's face. "You're not afraid of me." "Should I be?" "Most people are." Maya looked at this feared biker president, seeing past the intimidating exterior to the father who'd just watched strangers insult his beloved daughter. "You're Angel's dad. That tells me everything I need to know about who you really are." Steele's smile was slow and genuine, transforming his weathered features. "You're not what I expected when Angel told me about her new friend." As if summoned by their conversation, Angel began signing rapidly to her father, her hands moving with excitement rather than distress. Steele's eyebrows rose as he watched his daughter's animated explanation. "She wants to know if you'd like to have dinner with us tomorrow night," Steele translated. "Says it's time you met the family properly." Maya looked between father and daughter, seeing hope in Angel's eyes and something more complex in Steele's. She was being invited into their world, a world where silence spoke volumes and danger wore patches that warned away the weak. "I'd like that," Maya said, not fully understanding what she was agreeing to, but knowing it was exactly where she wanted to be. The Hells Angels compound looked nothing like Maya had imagined. Instead of the stereotypical biker clubhouse from movies, she found herself in a well-maintained facility that spoke of organization, prosperity, and surprising domesticity. Angel led her through the main building to a private apartment that served as Steele's family residence within the Brotherhood's fortress. "Welcome to our world," Angel signed, her hands graceful in the apartment's warm lighting. "Not what you expected?" Maya shook her head, taking in the comfortable furniture, family photos on the walls, and the obvious care that had gone into creating a real home within the compound's secure perimeter. "It's beautiful and normal." "Normal is relative," Steele said from the kitchen, where he was cooking dinner with the same careful precision he brought to everything else. But Angel needed stability, not chaos. The club adapted. The dinner conversation was unlike anything Maya had experienced. Steele translated seamlessly between spoken English and sign language, creating a three-way dialogue that felt natural despite the complexity. Angel's personality blossomed in her father's presence. She was funny, intelligent, and surprisingly wise about human nature. "Tell Maya about your art," Steele encouraged his daughter. Angel's hands moved with enthusiasm as she explained her paintings, abstract works that captured emotions and experiences unique to the deaf community. "I paint what silence looks like," she explained. "What the world feels like when you experience it through vibration and vision instead of sound." "I'd love to see them," Maya said. Angel disappeared into her room and returned with canvases that took Maya's breath away. The paintings were explosions of color and movement that somehow made sound visible. The way music might look if it could be seen. The visual representation of laughter and crying and shouting. "They're incredible," Maya whispered, meaning every word. "She's been accepted to Arizona State's graduate program in art therapy," Steele said, pride evident in his voice. "Full scholarship. She'll be the first in our family to get a master's degree." Maya watched father and daughter interact, seeing the deep bond that had sustained them through challenges she was only beginning to understand. Angel had been born into a world that viewed her as a liability, but Steele had created a safe space where her differences became strengths. "How do you do it?" Maya asked Steele during a quiet moment while Angel prepared dessert. "Protect her from everything that wants to hurt her?" Steele's expression grew serious. "You can't protect someone from the world by hiding them from it. You teach them to be strong enough to face it on their own terms." "But people are cruel. Some people, others like you, see past the surface to what really matters." Steele studied Maya's face with an intensity that made her heart race. "Angel's never brought a friend home before. You're the first person outside the club she's trusted enough to let in." The weight of that trust felt both honor and responsibility. "Why me?" "Because you saw her before you knew who her father was. Because you treated her like a person instead of a problem." Steele's voice softened. "Because she needs someone in her life who isn't part of this world. Someone who can be her bridge to the normal life she deserves." Maya felt the shift in their dynamic. What had started as friendship with Angel was becoming something more complex with Steele. The attraction was impossible to ignore, but it came with complications that terrified her. "I should probably go," Maya said as the evening wound down. "I have an early shift tomorrow." "I'll drive you," Steele offered immediately. "That's not necessary. It's dark. You don't know this neighborhood, and you're under my protection now." Steele's tone brooked no argument. "Angel, tell Maya what that means." Angel's hands moved in careful, precise signs. "It means you're family now, and family takes care of family." The ride back to Maya's apartment was quiet, the rumble of Steele's Harley the only sound in the night. When they reached her building, Steele walked her to the door with the protective instincts of someone who'd learned to expect danger from every shadow. "Maya," Steele said as she fumbled with her keys. "Thank you. For tonight. For Angel. For being exactly what she needed when she needed it most. She's given me more than I've given her." Maya replied honestly. I've learned more about communication in 3 weeks than I have in 25 years. She's good at teaching people to see differently. Steele stepped closer, and Maya caught the scent of leather and motor oil that clung to his skin. What about you? What are you teaching us? The question hung between them like a bridge neither was quite ready to cross. Maya understood that whatever was building between her and Steele would change everything. For her, for Angel, for the delicate balance they'd created. I should go up, Maya whispered, though she made no move toward her door. Yeah, you should. Steele's voice was rough with an emotion he was clearly fighting. They stood frozen for a moment that stretched like eternity, awareness crackling between them, despite every reason it shouldn't. Then, Angel's ringtone chimed from Steele's phone, breaking the spell. Everything okay? Maya asked, as Steele checked the message. His expression darkened as he read. Angel's art professor. Someone vandalized her final project, spray-painted freak across 3 months of work. Maya's blood turned to ice. Who would do that? Someone who knows she can't hear them coming. Someone who thinks targeting a deaf girl is safe because her father won't find out. Steele's voice went deadly quiet. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Steele, don't do anything that'll get you arrested. Angel needs you. Angel needs justice. And she needs to know that hurting her has consequences. Steele swung back onto his bike, engine roaring to life. Stay inside tonight, Maya. Lock your doors. As Steele disappeared into the night, Maya realized she'd just gotten her first glimpse of the man behind the gentle father, the Hells Angels president who'd built his reputation on ensuring that actions had consequences, especially when those actions targeted the people he loved. Tomorrow, someone would learn that there were worse things than legal trouble when you messed with Steele's family. And Maya was beginning to understand that being under his protection meant she was part of that family now, whether she was ready for the implications or not. Maya discovered exactly what being under Steele's protection meant when she arrived at work the next morning to find 2 Hells Angels stationed outside Rosie's diner like leather-clad sentries. Reaper, Steele's lieutenant, nodded as she passed, his massive frame radiating the kind of menace that made early morning truckers suddenly remember appointments elsewhere. Everything all right? Maya asked, though the answer was clearly no. Boss's orders, Reaper rumbled. Your family now. Family gets protected. Inside the diner, Maya found Angel sitting in her usual booth, but instead of her typical serene composure, she was signing rapidly to herself. A nervous habit Maya had learned meant she was processing strong emotions. What happened? Maya asked, settling across from Angel. Angel's hands moved in sharp, angry patterns. The art professor says it's probably just a prank. Campus security says there's no cameras in the art building basement. Everyone acts like destroying 3 months of work is just boys being boys. That's not okay. It gets worse. Angel pulled out her phone and showed Maya a series of text messages from unknown numbers. Deaf bitch should stay where she belongs. Freaks don't belong in college. Daddy's money can't protect you everywhere. Maya's stomach clenched with rage. Have you shown these to your father? He already knows. Someone's been watching me, learning my schedule, finding ways to hurt me when he's not around. Angel's eyes filled with tears she was too proud to shed. I thought college would be different. I thought if I worked hard enough, proved myself enough, people would see past the disability and the patches. Angel, this isn't about you not being good enough. This is about small-minded people who can't stand seeing someone different succeed. Before Angel could respond, Steele walked into the diner with the controlled fury of a man barely containing violence. His cold blue eyes swept the room, cataloging potential threats before settling on his daughter's tear-streaked face. The conversation that followed was rapid-fire sign language, too fast for Maya to follow. But she could read the emotions clearly enough. Angel's hurt and frustration, Steele's protective rage, the kind of father-daughter argument that happened when love crashed against reality. She wants to quit school, Steele said finally, his voice tight with barely controlled emotion. Says it's not worth the harassment. You can't quit, Maya said to Angel. That's exactly what they want. Easy for you to say. Angel signed back, her movements sharp with anger. You don't have to worry about someone targeting you because your father scares people. You don't have to live with everyone assuming you're either helpless or dangerous. The accusation stung because it was true. Maya had never faced discrimination beyond the casual sexism of difficult customers. She'd never had to prove her worth while carrying someone else's reputation. You're right, Maya said quietly. I don't understand what that's like. But I know who you are when you're not dealing with ignorant people. You're brilliant, talented, and stronger than anyone gives you credit for. Don't let them steal that from you. Steele watched their exchange with an expression Maya was learning to recognize. The look of a man calculating risks and planning responses. There's something else, he said grimly. The harassment isn't random. Someone's coordinating it, targeting Angel specifically because they know it'll get to me. Who would do that? Someone who wants to draw the Hells Angels into a conflict. Someone who thinks they can use my daughter to manipulate me. Steele's jaw clenched. The Serpents have been quiet since we shut down their meth operation last year. Too quiet. Maya felt ice form in her stomach. The Serpents? Rival club. They lost face when we forced them out of Phoenix. Cost them millions in drug revenue. They've been looking for a way to hit back without starting an open war. Angel's hands moved in urgent signs. They think hurting me will make Dad do something stupid that gives them excuse to retaliate legally. And they're right, Steele admitted grimly. Because watching my daughter suffer while I do nothing isn't an option. Maya understood she was witnessing the collision between Steele's roles as father and president. The club leader knew that retaliation would escalate into violence that could destroy everything he'd built. But the father was ready to burn it all down to protect his child. What if there was another way? Maya asked slowly, an idea forming. I'm listening. What if we could prove the Serpents are behind the harassment? Get them arrested for stalking and intimidation instead of giving them the war they want. Steele's expression shifted from protective rage to tactical consideration. That would require evidence, the kind that stands up in court. Then we get evidence. Maya turned to Angel. You said someone's been watching you, learning your schedule. What if we turn that around? What if we watch them watching you? Angel's eyes lit up with understanding. Surveillance, camera equipment, set a trap. It's dangerous, Steele said immediately. Using Angel as bait. I'm already bait, Angel interrupted via sign language. At least this way, we control the situation instead of just reacting to it. The plan they developed was simple, but risky. Angel would maintain her normal schedule while Steele's brothers positioned themselves with recording equipment around campus. When the Serpents made their next move, they'd have everything documented. One condition, Steele said as they finalized details. Maya, you stay out of this. You're civilian, not club. I won't have you in the line of fire. Angel's my friend. I'm already involved. Not like this. This is club business now. Maya saw the wall going up between them, the boundary between Steele's world and hers, the line he wouldn't let her cross even if it meant crossing it alone. What if I don't want to be protected? Maya asked. What if I want to help? Then you'll have to choose, Steele said quietly, because this world doesn't offer middle ground. You're either in completely, with all the risks that entails, or you're out where it's safe. As Maya looked between Steele's determined face and Angel's hopeful expression, she realized she was being asked to make a choice that would define not just her relationship with them, but who she wanted to be when everything she cared about was threatened. In 12 hours, the Serpents would make their move, and Maya would discover whether love was worth stepping into darkness she'd never imagined. The trap was supposed to be simple. Angel would attend her evening art class as usual, while Steele's brothers maintained surveillance from concealed positions around campus. when the serpents made their move, everything would be recorded for law enforcement. What they hadn't anticipated was Maya's decision to ignore Steele's orders. She arrived at Phoenix Community College 30 minutes before Angel's class, positioning herself in the student union, where she could watch the art building without being obvious. Her phone buzzed with increasingly angry texts from Steele, but she ignored them all. Angel was her friend, and friends didn't abandon each other when things got dangerous. The serpents appeared at 8:47 p.m. 3 men in leather vests who moved with the casual arrogance of predators in familiar territory. Maya recognized their type from the diner. Men who used intimidation and violence to control what they couldn't understand or dominate through other means. She watched them position themselves around the art building's exits, cutting off Angel's escape routes with military precision. This wasn't random harassment. It was a coordinated assault designed to isolate and terrorize. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Angel. "They're inside the building. Camera equipment isn't working. Something's wrong." Before Maya could respond, rough hands grabbed her shoulders and a voice hissed in her ear. "Boss wants to see you, Waitress." The serpent who'd grabbed her was young, maybe 25, with dead eyes and the kind of smile that promised pain. His grip on her arm was painful as he steered her toward a van parked in the campus lot. "Let me go," Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Can't do that." "Your insurance now. Angel's deaf daddy won't do anything stupid if we've got his girl's bestie." Maya realized with sick clarity that the serpents had been watching not just Angel, but everyone in her orbit. They'd identified Maya as leverage against Steele, a way to force the Hells Angels president into an impossible choice. The van's interior smelled like cigarettes and fear. 2 more serpents waited inside, both armed and clearly comfortable with violence. Maya found herself zip-tied to a bench seat while they discussed her fate like she wasn't there. "Marco wants her alive until the deaf bitch is secured," one said. "After that, she's a liability. Shame. Pretty girl like that could be useful for other things first." Maya's blood turned to ice, but she forced herself to think instead of panic. Angel was walking into an ambush. Steele's surveillance had been compromised, and she was about to become a victim instead of a witness. Unless she found a way to warn them. Her phone was still in her pocket. They'd been too focused on restraining her to search properly. Slowly, carefully, she worked her fingers toward the device while the serpents argued about timing and tactics. The text she managed to send was simple. "Trap. Serpents have me. Don't come." But it was already too late. Through the van's windows, Maya could see chaos erupting across campus as Hell's Angels roared into the parking lot on motorcycles, responding to Angel's distress call. Steele led the charge, his massive frame radiating lethal purpose as he dismounted and stormed toward the art building. "Shit," one of the serpents muttered. "They're early." What followed was a running battle across Phoenix Community College as 2 motorcycle clubs engaged in urban warfare that turned the quiet campus into a combat zone. Maya watched in horror as men she'd come to care about, Reaper, Tiny, others she'd met during family dinners, risked their lives to protect Angel and rescue her. The serpents holding Maya grew increasingly agitated as their plan collapsed around them. Their leader, a scarred man named Marco, grabbed Maya's hair and pressed a knife to her throat. "Call him," Marco snarled. "Tell Steele to back off or his daughter's friend bleeds out right here." Maya's phone rang before she could respond, Steele's number on the display. Marco answered on speaker. "Steele, you bastard. Time to negotiate." "Let her go, Marco." Steele's voice was deadly calm despite the gunfire and motorcycle engines roaring in the background. "This is between us." "No, this is about respect. About consequences for destroying our operation." Marco's grip tightened on Maya's hair. "You took our territory, our income, our reputation. Now we take everything you care about. I'm offering you one chance to walk away. Take it." "Or what? You'll kill me? You'll start a war that destroys both clubs?" Marco laughed. "You won't risk civilian casualties for some waitress you've known a month." That's when Maya understood the fatal flaw in the Serpent's plan. They'd assumed Steele would choose pragmatically, weighing club interests against personal attachments. They didn't understand that Steele had already made his choice the moment Angel smiled at Maya in that diner booth. "You're right," Steele said quietly. "I won't risk civilian casualties." The line went dead. For a moment, Maya thought Steele had abandoned her. Then she remembered his words about teaching people to be strong enough to face the world on their own terms. "He's not coming for me," Maya told Marco, working to free her hands while he focused on watching for approaching angels. "You picked the wrong leverage." "Shut up. You don't know him at all, do you? Steele doesn't negotiate with people who threaten his family. He eliminates them." Marco backhanded her, but Maya had accomplished what she needed. The zip ties were loose enough to slip. Now she just needed the right moment. It came when Angel appeared at the van's rear doors. Angel's presence was ghost quiet, her deafness making her naturally stealthy in ways hearing people could never match. She'd tracked the van using skills her father had taught her, moving through shadows while the Serpents focused on the obvious threat of approaching motorcycles. The flashbang grenade Angel threw into the van was military grade, borrowed from Steele's combat veteran brothers. The explosion of light and sound incapacitated Maya's captors long enough for Angel to cut her restraints and pull her to safety. As they ran across campus toward Steele's position, Maya realized she was no longer a civilian caught in crossfire. She'd become part of the war, part of the family, part of a world where love required courage and protection, demanded sacrifice. Behind them, the Serpents were learning why challenging Steele's family was a mistake that ended careers, freedom, and sometimes lives. The aftermath of the campus battle looked like a war zone. Police cars, ambulances, and federal vehicles surrounded Phoenix Community College, while investigators tried to piece together what had happened when two motorcycle clubs decided to settle their differences with bullets and explosives. Maya sat in the back of an ambulance getting treated for minor injuries while watching Steele give his statement to federal agents. Even zip-tied and facing RICO charges, he commanded respect from law enforcement who understood the difference between criminals and men who'd fought to protect innocent people. "Maya," Angel signed as she approached, her clothes torn and dirty, but her eyes bright with adrenaline. "Are you okay?" "Better than okay. You saved my life." "You saved mine first." That text warning gave Dad time to reposition his brothers. Without it, the Serpents would have gotten both of us. Maya watched Steele being loaded into a federal transport van, his eyes finding hers across the chaos. No words were needed. They'd crossed every line that had separated their worlds, and there was no going back. FBI agent Sarah Chen approached Maya with the weary expression of someone who'd spent the night processing a crime scene that looked like something from Afghanistan rather than Arizona. "Ms. Rodriguez," Chen said, settling beside Maya on the ambulance's tailgate. "We need to talk." "Am I under arrest?" "That depends on what story you want to tell." Chen pulled out a recording device. "Official version is that you were an innocent civilian caught up in gang violence. Unofficial version is that you knowingly participated in surveillance operation against the Serpents." Maya understood the choice being offered. She could walk away clean, return to her normal life serving coffee and avoiding complications. Or she could accept responsibility for choices that had led to this moment. "What happens to Steele and Angel if I tell the truth?" "Steele's looking at federal charges regardless, weapons violations, conspiracy, racketeering. But if we can prove the Serpents initiated this conflict through harassment and kidnapping, his sentence gets reduced significantly." Chen's expression gentled. "Angel's clean. She acted in defense of herself and others. College girl saves friend from kidnappers plays well in court. And if I lie, say I was just unlucky, Steele goes away for 20 years minimum. Angel loses her father during the most important years of her life. The Hells Angels probably dissolve without their president." Chen leaned forward. "Is protecting your clean record worth that cost?" Maya looked across the campus where crime scene technicians were collecting evidence that would determine the futures of everyone she'd come to love. The choice should have been easy: self-preservation over loyalty to people she'd known for weeks. Instead, it was the simplest decision she'd ever made. "I want to tell the truth. All of it." Chen's statement took 3 hours to complete. Maya described everything: Angel's harassment, the surveillance plan, her decision to ignore Steele's warnings, the Serpent's coordinated assault. She held nothing back, even when the admissions implicated her in conspiracy charges. "You realize you're confessing to multiple federal crimes?" Chen asked as they finished. "I'm confessing to protecting my family." The federal courthouse 6 months later was packed with supporters for both Angel and Steele. Maya had spent the intervening time learning that loving someone in the motorcycle world meant accepting that legal trouble was part of the landscape, that loyalty sometimes required sacrifice most people couldn't understand. Steele's sentence was reduced to 3 years, based on Maya's testimony and the evidence proving Serpent instigation. Angel had transferred to Arizona State University and was thriving in their graduate program, her art gaining recognition for its unique perspective on communication and human connection. Maya had quit the diner and was working as a victim's advocate, using her experience to help other women navigate the legal system after domestic violence or assault. Her sign language skills, developed through love and friendship, had become professional assets that helped her bridge communication gaps for deaf clients. "How do you feel about the sentence?" reporters asked as Steele was led away. "Grateful," Maya replied honestly. 3 years isn't justice, but it's survivable. And when he gets out, he'll have a family waiting for him." That evening, Maya and Angel sat in their favorite booth at Rosie's Diner, now under new management that appreciated their business regardless of family connections. 3 years, Angel signed, her hands forming the words with careful precision. "We'll manage. Together. You could have walked away. Started over somewhere else." Maya smiled, remembering the woman she'd been 6 months ago, someone who served coffee and avoided complications, who believed that safety meant staying uninvolved in other people's problems. "Where would I go? This is my family now." Angel's answering smile was radiant. "Dad always said the best families are chosen, not inherited. What did he tell you before they took him away?" Angel's hands moved in the graceful patterns Maya now read as fluently as English. "He said to tell you that loving someone means accepting who they choose to become, even when that choice costs everything you thought you wanted." "And what did you tell him?" "That some things are worth the cost." Outside the diner, Phoenix continued its eternal sprawl toward horizons that promised new beginnings for anyone brave enough to claim them. Maya and Angel had chosen each other, chosen Steele, chosen a family built on loyalty rather than blood. In 3 years, Steele would walk out of federal prison to find a world where his daughter had graduated with honors, where the woman who'd become his partner had built a new life around principles he'd taught her, where love had proved stronger than law enforcement and family had survived separation. But first, they had to survive the waiting. As Maya and Angel signed their way through conversation that mixed languages and cultures, hope and determination, they were already building the foundation for a homecoming that would prove some bonds couldn't be broken by time, distance, or federal sentences. Love, it turned out, was fluent in every language that mattered. 3 years and 2 months after Steele walked into federal prison, Maya stood outside the minimum security facility in Florence, Arizona, with Angel beside her and a future full of possibilities waiting in the distance. The man who emerged from the prison gates was leaner than the one who'd gone in, marked by time and separation, but not broken by either. Steele's blue eyes found them immediately, and Maya saw in his expression the same recognition she'd felt that first night in the diner, the moment when strangers became family. Angel ran to her father with the abandon of someone who'd missed him every day for 38 months. Their embrace was wordless, signed in the language of reunion that needed no translation. Maya waited her turn, nervous in a way that surprised her. They'd written letters, shared phone calls, navigated the complex relationship between a man in federal custody and the woman who'd chosen to build a life around, waiting for his return. But physical presence was different, more real, more immediate, more honest about what they'd become during their separation. "Maya?" Steele said when Angel finally released him, his voice rough with emotion that had nothing to do with cigarettes or motorcycle engines. "Steele." She stepped into his arms like coming home after a long journey. The hug was everything their letters had promised, and nothing like she'd imagined. 3 years of longing compressed into 30 seconds of contact that felt both eternal and insufficient. "You waited," Steele murmured against her hair. "Where else would I go?" "Anywhere safer, smarter, easier." Maya pulled back to meet his eyes. "Easier doesn't build families. Safer doesn't create love worth keeping." The ride back to Phoenix took 2 hours through desert landscape that had become Maya's definition of home. Angel chatted excitedly in the back seat, updating her father on college graduation, her job prospects, the art gallery that wanted to feature her work about communication barriers in modern society. Maya drove while Steele absorbed the changes that had happened during his absence, the way Angel's confidence had grown, the way Maya moved through conversation with easy competence, the way both women had thrived despite his protection being replaced by federal supervision. "Tell me about the Advocacy Center," Steele said as they reached Phoenix city limits. "We help domestic violence survivors navigate the legal system," Maya explained. "Provide translation services, court accompaniment, safe housing coordination. I use sign language more than English some days." "And they pay you for this?" "Enough to live on, enough to matter." Maya glanced at Steele, seeing pride and something deeper in his expression. "Angel designed our logo. We're thinking about expanding, maybe offering art therapy programs for trauma survivors." "She's going to change the world," Steele said, watching Angel sign rapid commentary on the passing scenery. "She's already changing it, one person at a time." The compound looked smaller than Maya remembered, though that might have been perspective gained through years of building her own life outside its protected walls. The brothers who greeted Steele's return were older, more settled, operating legitimate businesses that had replaced the gray area activities that had once defined their income. "Things changed while I was away," Steele observed as Reaper updated him on club operations. "Had to change," Reaper replied. "Maya made us realize we could protect the community without protecting ourselves from the law. Turns out legitimacy has advantages." That evening, Maya and Steele sat on the compound's roof where they'd shared their first real conversation 3.5 years earlier. Phoenix spread below them like a constellation of second chances, each light representing someone who'd found ways to build meaningful lives despite challenging circumstances. "I have something for you," Steele said, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. "Steele, let me say this." He opened the box to reveal a ring that was beautiful in its simplicity. White gold with a single diamond that caught starlight like captured hope. "I know this isn't conventional. Most women don't fall in love with men who communicate through their deaf daughters, who go to federal prison, who can promise protection but not safety. Most women don't get to choose families like ours. Maya Rodriguez, will you marry a Hells Angels president with a federal record and a daughter who comes with the package?" Maya looked at the ring, seeing in its simple elegance everything they'd built together. Love that had survived separation, family that had grown stronger through adversity, partnership that had transformed both their lives in ways neither had imagined possible. Only if Steele Matthias will marry a victim's advocate who speaks better sign language than English and considers your daughter her best friend. "Oh," his answering smile was bright enough to illuminate the desert. "I think that can be arranged." Angel found them 20 minutes later, engaged in planning a future that included graduate school completion, advocacy center expansion, and a wedding that would blend biker brotherhood with deaf community in ways Phoenix had never seen. "When?" Angel signed excitedly. "When you graduate," Maya replied, using the fluid hand movements that had become as natural as breathing. Family celebrations should include everyone who made them possible. And after graduation, Maya and Steele looked at each other, seeing infinite possibilities in the years ahead. They'd learned that love required courage, that family demanded sacrifice, that building something worth keeping meant choosing each other repeatedly, despite every rational reason to choose safety instead. After graduation, we figure out what comes next, Steele said. Together. As Arizona stars emerged overhead, and Angel planned wedding details that would require translation into 3 languages, Maya realized they'd accomplished something most people never managed. They'd created a family that spoke the same emotional language despite coming from completely different worlds. The price had been everything they'd thought they wanted. The promise was everything they'd never dared to dream. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and stay for the next ride. In the distance, motorcycles rumbled through Phoenix streets, carrying other stories of love and loyalty, danger and redemption. But on the compound's roof, 3 people who'd chosen each other against impossible odds were already living their happily ever after, one signed conversation at a time.